A grumpy history teacher stays on campus at his prep school to watch the small group of kids who aren't going home for the holidays. Paul Giamatti is just a lovable curmudgeon. It is no surprise that the teacher who fails his whole class and gives them homework over Christmas break is universally hated by his students. It is also no surprise that the audience knows by the end of the film we're going to see a much different side of that teacher. This movie really looks and feels like it came out of the early 1970s, and it starts right at the beginning of the movie when the copyright pops up and says copyright 1971, which doesn't feel like it should be legal, although I can't imagine anyone actually caring that the copyright is not the actual year that the movie came out. A movie has not looked this much like it came from a different era since Ty West's House of the Devil, or Ty West's X, or Ty West's Pearl. Director Alexander Payne has had a pretty great career, and almost all of his movies, even if they never became huge blockbusters, have a devout and cult following, especially Election and Sideways. Now for me, his masterpiece is Nebraska. Now Nebraska and the Holdovers, they have a lot in common. They are about grumpy old men. They both are pretty slowly paced. They both win over the audience by making them fall in love with unlikely characters, and they're both quietly hilarious. Paul Giamatti and Alexander Payne previously worked together on Sideways about 20 years ago, and many people consider that to be Giamatti's best role. After seeing the Holdovers, I think a lot of people may change their mind on that though. His fishy-smelling, wall-eyed Paul Hunman is a lot to digest, but he is definitely a good man under that calloused exterior. I assume that some CGI was used to make Giamatti's eyes look like they do. Either that or I've just not been very observant in his other films. Playing opposite of Paul Giamatti is first-time actor Dominic Sessa. He goes toe-to-toe with the grumpy old teacher and hangs right with him in every single scene. Now both of these characters are flawed and push each other's buttons at every single turn. The unlikely group of friends is rounded out by Da'Vine Joy Randolph as the grieving cafeteria worker. The movie's biggest strength is in its character development, with each new scene revealing a small truth about a character that we didn't previously know. And by the end, all of those pieces fit together like a puzzle to let us know why each character is the way that they are. Everyone has a past that has shaped their present, and until you get to know someone, you have no idea why they are the way that they are. These characters feel very real, and this world feels very lived in. Of those three main performances, Randolph's Mary Lamb is the most emotional, while Paul Giamatti's is the most humorous. And I suspect both Giamatti and Randolph are going to have to clear some space on their mantle during awards season. I love revisiting older films to remind me of a time when life was much more simple. There were no cell phones, no internet, no video games, and there were more interactions with real-life humans face-to-face in the same room without distraction. The Holdovers, while it is a modern film, captures that simplistic life of the early 1970s better than anything I've seen in recent years. I wouldn't really consider this a Christmas movie, even though it takes place at Christmas. It is just a heartwarming, good time filled with complex and flawed characters that you cannot help but love. Now, even if the characters constantly bicker, and you probably wouldn't want to be friends with any of them in real life, this movie and its characters do not have a mean bone in their body. It feels weird to say that a movie that looks like it took place 50 years ago about a grumpy professor and a spoiled rich kid would be the heartwarming feel-good story of the year, but I think this might be the feel-good story of the year. Browsing books at an outdoor market, failing final exams, leaning Christmas trees, smoking and drinking on the job, snow globes, trying your hand at gymnastics, wall-eyed finger pointing.